Hi, hello, welcome to a new video. I'm here with interesting article about functional connectivity of orbitofrontal cortex, and it says the aberrant functional connectivity of the orbitofrontal cortex is associated with excited symptoms in first episode drug naive patients with schizophrenia. It seems interesting study because hard to find first episode drug naive patients with schizophrenia. But yeah, let's read this study further. And schizophrenia is associated with the highest disability rate among serious mental disorders. Excited symptoms are the core symptoms of schizophrenia, which appear in the early stage followed by other stages of the disease subsequently. These symptoms are destructive and prone to violent attacks, so it's unclear, honestly, posing a serious economic burden to the society. I'm not sure if the schizophrenia patients are really that destructive and prone to violent attacks. Anyway, it's not related to the main manuscript, I guess. This manuscript, I guess. Abnormal spontaneous activity in the orbitofrontal cortex had been reported to be associated with excited symptoms in patients with schizophrenia. So yeah, that's why it is interesting study. However, whether the abnormality appears in first episode is still remained elusive. So it's not really very original study. They replicated it in first episode drug naive patients. And 56 drug naive patients with schizophrenia and healthy controls underwent fMRI and positive and negative syndrome scales. First differences in fractional amplitude of low frequency fluctuations between first episode drug naive patients with schizophrenia and healthy controls were examined to identify cerebral regions exhibiting abnormal local spontaneous activity. Finally, the correlation between abnormal functional connectivity and exciting symptoms was analyzed. So this is the results section. Interesting. Compared with healthy controls, first episode drug naive patients with schizophrenia showed a significant decrease in intrinsic activity in those areas. In addition, first episode drug naive patients with schizophrenia had significantly reduced functional connectivity values between these left orbitofrontal cortex and cerebral regions, which were mainly distributed in the bilateral postcentral gyrus and the other parts. So further analysis showed that the functional connectivity between the left orbitofrontal cortex and the left postcentral gyrus and bilateral paracentral lobules was negatively correlated with excited symptoms in first episode drug naive patients with schizophrenia. And I'm curious, uh, so negatively correlated, but I'm curious if it is a significant result, because yeah, it must be significant and negatively correlated, and I'm curious whether this negative correlation is as in the literature. And another thing is the size of the correlation. So is this a like 0.2 correlation, or what is the correlation? So and because in fact, if you just take your one Excel table, and you start checking some correlations, and you will probably find many correlations and doesn't mean really anything. So, and that's why those studies in brain imaging was really criticized. And not only, I'm not saying this study, but this generally, because you basically have the brain anatomy, and there are some correlations, volumes, and you find some association, correlation, but some are just looking for something extraordinary, different, and then because in the brain there are many things, so they find some relationship, but they don't know if that relationship is really meaningful and can be used for like treatment response, or if whether this correlation is really that meaningful and substantial. Anyway, the results indicated the important role of the left orbitofrontal cortex in first episode drug-naive patients with schizophrenia and suggested the abnormal spontaneous activity may be valuable to predict the occurrence of excited symptoms, and these results may provide a new direction to explore the excited symptoms of schizophrenia. That is interesting, and I find this quite interesting. If you are more interested in, you can find the article and read it, and see you. Bye bye.